Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
It's Mike and Blaine. It is episode 105, and man, I'm telling you what, I'm in a cross between high energy and low energy, right? I'm like on a birthday week. I really partied it up on Tuesday. Then I worked a 13-hour day yesterday to catch up for the party day on Tuesday. I had my first class at Trinity University. And so if you don't know us, I'm Mike Mylan, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my partner and CEO of Dry Run, Blaine Birch. What's up, my man?
Happy birthday live instead of via text and everything else. So yeah, happy. Well, I guess belated, but I did text you on the big day. So I wish I had been down there to have a beer with you on your birthday. We'll have to do a birthday beer in the winter.
Your text was the absolute funniest thing I got all day.
Really?
Because it was a misinterpretation of a conversation.
Oh, yeah, that was funny, actually. I forgot about that.
Yeah, because I said, all right, so hey, what you guys don't know is that I'm like grounded from Taco Bell. I can't go there, right? So, but Courtney, who I lovingly refer to as Court, Blaine texted me, and I responded back, hey, yeah, I'm at Taco Bell. Court won't let me go there or something. I forget how it was, but it's like I mentioned Court. And Blaine responds, what? Like, oh, shitty day for Court.
Yeah, shitty day for Court. And then you thought I was talking about your wife, and I thought you were like, I don't know, in traffic court or something. Like, I didn't know. I'm like, well, that kind of sucks. You were fighting a speeding ticket? Or like, I had no idea, right? So and then you were like, Courtney. Oh.
Yeah, I'm like going, I really thought that you're like going, oh my God, he hates Taco Bell so bad that I'm forcing her to go eat it. I'm like going, no, she's out of town. You go, oh my God, no, I thought you were in court, not with court.
Exactly. Anyway, happy belated birthday, and I'm sorry you had to go to Taco Bell on your birthday. That's a shame.
Not sorry. I had I even went to Sports Clips, and I tell you what, I'm not the type of guy that blows a lot of money on haircuts. Obviously, right? I mean, I know I'm a hair model, but
less than or more than me anyway.
But I did the full treat. I did the full thing this time, which means I got my hair cut, then I got it washed, then I got my scalp massage, then I got a hot towel on my face with the mint or whatever that's in the towel or eucalyptus. Then they put you back in the chair and give you a shoulder massage. I'm like going, oh, this is Treat Yourself Tuesday.
Yeah. And what's so funny is like for guys, that's like $15. And then for women, it's like $150. Really basically the same thing. Right?
$28.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah.
Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous for all that work. I'm like going, yeah, $28. So, but think about this. And the one thing they asked me when we came in was, did you check in online? So I'm telling you that because today's topic is all about your digital identity and how today's consumer acts and reacts. So, but first, what are you drinking, my man?
Well, because I saw the topic and it was do's and don'ts, like act and react like that. So what I did is I found this one, Irrational Brewing, Symmetry is Bliss. I think it's a double New England IPA. And, but what's cool is Irrational is a local brewery. It's actually quite a new one. We've been biking down there every once in a while. They get some really nice beer, but this is the first time I saw a can in the store, and it's a good beer, so I had to grab it. So if you're in Edmonton, check out Irrational on 124th Street. Quite a nice little brewery there.
You have a knack for picking some of the coolest artistic cans.
I am a bit of a sucker for the artwork on the cans.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So I went with a Houston. We make fun of it when we say Houston sometimes, but it's Houston, Texas, SpindleTap. And because I just went through this big website redesign and whatever project, I went with Houston Haze because I feel like I'm in a haze this week. That project put me in a haze. So I'm going with the Haze, and we're at 7%. So I'm like, I should be okay.
Should be fine. I'm a lightweight today too. It's 6%. It's easy. Good to go. We'll be chatting away all the way through to the end. Oh, and I forgot. I got to tell you, this is courtesy of my beer sponsor, Larry Weinstein. He's, again, CPA Larry Weinstein. Thanks again, Larry. I had a note here to because I'm like, I don't want to forget to thank my beer sponsor. It's so rare that I have one, and I got two right now. So I'm bouncing back and forth.
All right. So I guess I'm kind of giving Larry a little shout out, right? Because Larry is from Houston. He lives in Houston, so that's where it is. Hey, speaking of Larry, he's doing something really cool, right? So he's taking my book, The 7-Minute Conversation, right? So be looking for his version, his edition to come out, because he's making one that's called Contractor Edition, right? So he's taking the basic concept of the 7-minute conversation, and he's adding in his own, detail to what contractors can do to deploy this thing. I'm really excited about that book coming out. I'm writing the foreword. I've never written a foreword before. I've never written backwards either, but but I'm writing a foreword, and I'm like going, well, what the hell's a foreword? So now I got to figure that out and then try to write it. So
nice. That's awesome. I've mentioned on the show a few times, I'm feeling a little guilty now. I've got a couple in the hopper, the two books that are almost ready to go, but they're not ready. And man, it takes time. That last 10% takes so much time. So good reminder. I got to get on that, which is going to be hard because it's all since September, right? So, man.
All right, so the hardest part for me is the editing, proofreading, because I get tired of reading the same darn paragraph over and over and over again. It's still missing.
That's where I am.
Yes,
that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
I
wonder if Chad could maybe have Chad do it.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, go in and read this and tell me. But I don't trust Chad with anything more than like the country song and rap stuff that we've been doing. I don't trust him with anything important.
You didn't put that out there. You didn't put the rap out.
I have it. I haven't forgot. I downloaded a clip and I had to find the rap and cut it out, and I got to make graphics for it. So I will put it out.
So which is better in your opinion? I mean, I can't tell, but which is better to you? Was it the country song or was it the rap?
They were both good. I kind of like that country song though, to be honest. Like they're both really good, but if I had to pick, I just thought the country song was pretty awesome.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, if you hadn't heard, and this was just impromptu, we didn't prepare any of this. Chad actually wrote a song, and I sung it in in a country version. And it was like an ode to Shinerbach. Mm-hmm. And the last one was about Profit First and Mike and Blaine. Right.
And Mike and Blaine, it was a great little rap. I think the next one we do should be is it just based on your logic for our jingle, we should probably do like some type of thing in a 90s sitcom theme. That'll be the next song. So
well, that wasn't how the jingle was supposed to. It was supposed to be a mashup between like 70s funk and what was it, like 2000? Well, nowadays hip hop or beat. I was trying to mix those two, and I guess 2023 and 1970 equals 1992.
Yeah, 1992 sitcom jingle. I know. It's very Friends-ish somehow,
Yeah, that's why. But I'm telling you what, I would not change that jingle. It still sticks in my head. It still plays in my mind. It's like, all right, so I actually remember a jingle from the 1970s. Maybe you got one in your hometown too, of a local car dealership.
Oh, yeah. If I, it's hard for me to think of one, but if I heard, I think the first note, I would know the whole thing because you hear them every day. Like back then, you'd hear them every day on the radio, and you just like, man, it just ingrains in your brain. Like they're really effective. Those jingles, super, super effective.
Yeah. You want to hear this one? I still know it. It's got to be 40 some years old now. Ready? We mark them down, 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 way down, down, down. We got the very best prices around. Come in and see us today. We only sell one way. We mark them down, 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 way down. Pretty good, right?
That is just terrific. thank you so much. We now have another clip, so I'll have to now. I gotta cut the wrap and this one this week. So I'll find some time and get both clips up on the Facebook page and YouTube.
If you do it, I will put it on my personal page because everybody back in my hometown will know exactly what business I'm talking about. They'll know exactly, right? And I'm talking about what used to be Weaver Yum Chevrolet, and I knew Weaver and Yum, and I think it's just Yum Chevrolet now. I think the Weaver's got out, but or I could be wrong. It could be the opposite, but I think it's just one.
No, you know well, on our topic today, we're talking about like the do's and don'ts, digital marketing and everything. And I know we're going to dig in. There's a lot of stuff here, but think about what is the digital equivalent of a jingle? Because a jingle like that, it's not like you're lucky to go viral. It's that you just get repeated so much that people just know it inside out, upside down, right?
Yeah.
What is the equivalent? What could you do where you're not praying to go viral, but you're doing something that actually just hooks in, gets repeated enough, and because it's so hard. There's like 1,000 different channels today, not like radio and television. How do you actually do that? How do you get something that will just, kind of stick in their mind, right?
Yeah, I know, man. I remember the first thing that stuck in my mind on the internet, and people might know it because I think it was a big thing across maybe the world. Was it a dancing squirrel or a dancing chipmunk? Maybe it was dancing chipmunk.
Was it Dancing Baby?
No. Is there a dancing baby?
Oh, you don't remember Dancing Baby?
No.
People know exactly what it is. A little dancing baby in a just bad 3D, and he spun in a circle doing a dance. That was one of the ones I remember. I don't remember a squirrel, but I do remember Dancing Baby.
I'm gonna ask Chad. Early viral. I think it was like dancing chipmunk. Maybe chipmunk.
Don't remember a chipmunk.
Of course, he went right to the chipmunks because he's
yeah.
Chad.
Okay.
Chad on the
speaking of country songs, okay, this is the same thing where something embeds in your head so much that it won't leave you, and that's what we're all trying to do in some ways, right? When I hear the song "Mamas Don't Let Your Cowboys Grow Up to," or whatever, babies grow up to be cowboys. How does that go? You know the song.
Mamas don't let your babies grow up
to
be cowboys.
Of course, I'm gonna know that. I cannot listen to that song without. It doesn't matter who does it because it's been covered so many times. Mamas don't let your babies grow up to be a cowboy. And in my head, I go chipmunks because I had a cassette when I was like probably 6 years old that was the Chipmunks, and they did that song, and there all these country songs, and I can't. Those ones are so much in my head that now I'm 50 years old and I hear a song, and the Chipmunks lyrics overtake these famous country songs, and I can't get it out of my head. I just find that hilarious.
Yeah, no wonder you don't like country music. You ruined it.
I do. I got some country here. Like I got some, but I don't. But I won't listen to any that was on the Chipmunks album because I'll totally it ruins it. It totally ruined it for me. It's anyway. I just but what's important is that like back then there were ways that you could get into people's heads and they just remember you. But now it's so competitive. Like across, how do you get attention on the web and have somebody pay attention to you? Because there's these superstar kind of the Joe Rogan winners that have like a ton of traffic, but it is like a fight to the death for the 99.99999% of everybody else to try and get attention, right?
Yeah, I think so. All right, so let's talk just about the basic website. Let's start there because we went right to virability, and I'm like,
yeah.
Because you're right. 99% of us never get to the point where we're getting the traffic that any of these big companies get or any of the, you just don't. Even, all right. So a small company that got a ton of traffic, right? Instagram before they were bought by Facebook. I think they only had like 13 employees. So, we're talking small business. And I think the actual picture taking stuff wasn't even a thought as an app. It was part of a different app. It was part of like a game, right? Like one where you like have in-app purchases, but you could communicate with other people in the game world, right? And share pictures. And what they found is that nobody was buying the in-app purchases, but they were sharing a bunch of pictures. So they took the pictures out of it and made its own app, right?
And that's an interesting story because it's happened quite a number of times in tech where people have recognized some component is actually the kicker. But look, anyway, don't want to get off topic. Circle back to the website, right?
All right, so I go back and forth. Some people say everything has to be mobile first, mobile optimized. I think that's super important, right? So, I mean, let's just talk about some do's. So when you're planning out your page and what it looks like, I think you do have to consider what it also looks like on the phone, what it also looks like on a tablet or smaller screen. Because if you don't, you know, you might lose half your people right off the bat because they have a terrible experience. Like, oh, what is this? You know, the word's cut in half, or it's the text wrapping is bad. It's not responsive enough. What do you think? Is there something more important than that? I mean, you can't have a cluttered design. I mean, we know that that's a don't. If it's too cluttered, too much going on, you can't figure it out. You can't follow what's happening.
You just reminded me of something I got to do on our own website. So I just took a note, literally. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to do that. And it's a little bit of a mobile, mobile optimization thing that I just forgot. I got to get on my list. It is really important. And in the marketing side, in the content ingestion or consumption side, because that's what people are looking at. They're looking through things on their phones. We're like finance software for business, and it's amazing. Now, not our software. Our software is used on laptops and big screens because of the type of software that's used almost exclusively.
You're not a phone app.
Yeah, but they find us probably close to half or around half on the phone, and they're reading our blog posts. They're looking at our social media. All the stuff is on the phone. So we're paying a lot more attention to that than we used to, because that's just where people spend their time. Right.
All right. So speaking of that, I mean, because of what you just said, I mean, where we find you is it's a marketing sales type page, but where your app resides, it's the desktop location. So let's separate the two and just talk about the marketing side, right? The marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the first thing you have to do is make a decision. Is this a sales website or is it an educational content website, right? Because it's super hard to do both. You got to really commit to one or the other. What do you think?
Well,
because
I think like
I made that mistake.
Yeah, like for our customers, it's not they're going to come in and buy like, oh, this isn't Amazon and they're going and buying like coffee filters. Like that's not what we're about. So we know that they're that's kind of what science or data tells us, is that I think the last time I read somewhere that it's on average you need 12 touches before there's a purchase, right? And that means that, and we see it. We see someone might come through I kind of look at it this way. We've got our kind of search traffic. So they're searching for something and they just come in and find us, right? And some of that could be paid search where we get to the top, some of it not. Then we have like paid ads. So and you're on Google or Facebook or whatever, and they come and find you. And then we have our social media. So through our LinkedIn, through Facebook, through Instagram, whatever, they find us. But like, I know they're not kind of very likely ever seeing one thing, clicking on it, coming to our website, signing up, and just kind of walking in. They're likely coming in and they're looking at this, and maybe they're on the landing page, and then they come back and then they're looking, then they're reading some blogs and they're trying to go like, are these guys, are they legit? Do they know what they're talking about? I don't have time for this today. And then like 2 weeks later, then they go, oh, I got time. I got to get in and start. And that's really hard to track. And it's really hard to do any sort of attribution to what actually worked, because what marketers like the sort of marketing philosophy seems like they clicked here, came in, like it's just a smooth one-step thing. And it's like, no, it's super messy, probably 8 to 12 touches before they finally come in and with us start a trial and then work through and a portion of that will purchase, right?
Okay, but is that because your site's set up for that? Meaning you're trying to educate, which means you made a conscious decision that it takes 12 to
Yes.
13 touches. So I'm going to give you as much value as I can to
Yeah.
build trust and credibility, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we do. Yeah, exactly. You hit it nail on the head. That's what we do. Is it's very much we're trying to offer content that helps them learn, helps them make a decision, and when they're ready, they come to us. And of course, we have all the buttons. Come and talk with us, start your trial, do all that kind of stuff. But we know that it's not a one and done sale. We have to educate. We have to show them what we're about, what we believe in, how dry run's different. There's a whole pile of stuff that we go through, and it's all about education. Because I don't think you're just selling someone these days. You're educating them and you're helping them make a decision.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the difference, because I just made that change, right? I went through 3 website kind of tinkering, like major transitions in the past year and a half, right? From what I first put up when I started doing this cash flow mic stuff, then I had a company help me kind of do it better. And over the course of the last year, I'm like, yeah, that's not it. That's not it for me. People need to know when I'm selling, right? With you, it's easy. Oh, I got an app, right? I got an app. Do you want to use my app?
Yeah.
Here's what it does. With me, I'm selling the idea that I can change your confidence. I can change your skill level, your knowledge, and your ability to make money in your own accounting or bookkeeping practice. So the next question everybody has is, how? Right? With you, I already know the how. I sign up for the app and I use the app. With me, I got to say, well, I got all this other shit. So I'm like going, oh, my website's confusing. And I know right now, a confused mind never buys. If I go to your site and I go, I can't figure out what it is you do or how do I buy from you or what you got. So I had to redesign all of that this summer. And it's been a major price. If you haven't been to cashflowmike.com, go, because I think the homepage is better. I think it's more clear about what services I provide. And it's like 3 different levels. I want to dip my toe in the water. I want to just get the knowledge, or I need help building something bigger, right?
Yep.
But that was me determining that I can't just educate on me knowing things. Like, here's how it started. Here's how it works. Here's how you do the financial gap calculation. I mean, all of that stuff wasn't enough to create conversions. So I had to redo it. Right? So that's what I'm saying. I think you got to make that decision up front. Is it a sales page, or is it an education content page that nurtures the trust?
Well, and like I would argue that there's not a whole lot of things these days that you're just like it is a one and done sort of sale. There's so much competition. There's so much noise out there that I really do think you have to educate your customer or potential customer, let them find their way through. There's also what part of the funnel they're in. So if they're very much top of funnel, it's you're kind of like, well, here's like, and we've got business owner and internal finance channel. And then we also have financial advisors like CPAs and CFOs doing advisory work as customers, right? If they're very much at the top of the funnel, you're sort of doing almost like a bigger picture, like, hey, we can help you grow your advisory services. We can help you serve more clients more efficiently and way more effectively. And you're sort of painting that picture. But then we also have the ones that are like the business owner right at the bottom of the funnel. It's like, I got freaking trouble. I can't understand my cash flow. I need something today. How are you compared to the next guy? Or how are you compared to spreadsheets? And we have that information too, so that you're trying to nurture them, whether the top of the funnel, mid funnel, sort of bottom of the funnel, getting them into a trial. And then for us, once you get them in the trial, it's like, oh shit, now the hard work starts, because we have to figure out a way to onboard them and make it easy when it's financial modeling software. It's kind of complicated. So there's a lot of layers that we have to look at all the time, right?
All right. So for 10 years, though, I found it really hard to speak to that many different customer bases, right? Like even right now, it's a little iffy. Like, do you deal with customer or with accountants and bookkeepers, or do you deal with business owners? So I'm like going, well, how do I differentiate when I can't stand in front of you? When I can't talk to you on the Zoom or I can't talk to you on the phone, how do I do that just in text and images? Right. That's pretty difficult to do. Right. And and it's not just us. These are people out here. I mean, that just have stores or have basic,
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at our site today and you come back a month from now, there's going to be changes because we're always learning. We're always talking with people. But again, it's all a focus of informing them and helping them make a decision, helping them understand. It's not about sales. Like if at the end we've done our job, they'll click buy in app and they'll buy. We're not trying to drive that. It's all about educating them. And it's there's a lot of layers. Like there's so much conversations that we go through. Like honestly, like if you go to our website right now, you see dryrun.com, you see features, and we have basically 3 channels. And we always thought, well, try and focus on this one, try and focus on that one. And we just have 3. And they come in all the time and we have to serve all 3. Yeah, it's complicated. We serve all 3. So we have business owners, we have internal finance, and we have client advisory. That like those 3 groups, and those messages are very different.
Right.
And
that mean you have to do? Does that mean you have to do 3 different, we'll say, campaigns if you're going to do any paid advertising or otherwise, or even social? Even your social media has to be segmented.
3. A lot of times for us when we get to the some of that can be a little bit more of 2 channels. It's basically a business, which could be business owner, could be internal finance, or it's a CPA offering client advisory services. So those 2 buckets are very different. So we do have like kind of separate campaigns. That's just the reality we live with, right? So we have to be really conscious of that. And we put a lot of thought and energy into how we communicate with them. But it's not like how we communicate. It's not a feature thing. It's not like, oh, this feature is great for you, but this other feature is great for you. It's like, no, like we're going to help you grow your advisory business. Or for a business owner, we're going to help you see the dips and make you money and take control of your cash flow. Like it's just, the way we present it is just a different sort of scheme. And we've, like I said, we tried to just simplify it and go, let's just focus on one channel and the other one can come in, but it's like, they just both keep coming in and we have to serve both. We just have come to the conclusion that's what we have to do.
Hey, speaking of presenting it, tell me what can I expect if I went to the dryrun.com webpage right now?
Oh, is this a little promotion opportunity?
It's like halfway through, we only have a sponsor halfway through, and it's either me or it's you. And I think I did it last week. So, I'm even, you're odd. Right? That's what.
Yes, you're right. I'm odd. Okay, nice. That's how we'll try and remember. I'm the odd one.
Yeah,
nice.
You're the oddball.
The old Canuck up north. No, if you come to Dry Run, like what we are all about now, like I said, we kind of got 2 groups, and I'm actually going to talk about both because number one, the business owner, internal finance, but a business, especially now, it's chaotic out there. You need to know what's happening in your cash flow. And honestly, I'm not like I drink, like I take my own medicine. I am in Dry Run all the time. I am looking at it. I see it and I go, okay, this is where we're at. How do we react to this? What do we make changes? Couple scenarios running and we go, that's our path forward. And so number one, what's going on in your cash flow? And let's model some scenarios and make some smart decisions. And then once you kind of get that under control, let's look forward and start modeling, especially that sales pipeline, and we'll help you find money that you're leaking out the bottom of your business. Now, if you're a CPA or you're offering advisory services to your clients, this is what you're helping your clients with. Exactly that. Their cash flow. You're helping them make some money. You're helping them, but we give you the tools to do it in such a fraction of the time that you're spending in a spreadsheet so you can serve more customers. And most importantly, your customers understand the conversation you're having with them. So we're going to help you have awesome conversations with your clients on the stuff that matters the most to them today. So come check us out at dryrun.com. We'd love to chat with you and get you started in a trial.
Hey, let me jump on there just a second, because early on in this podcast, not this episode, I'm talking about like 100 episodes ago, you made a comment, and I think we made an episode about it, about it's not dog food until a dog eats it, right?
Hell yeah.
Right? Remember?
That wasn't my quote. I got that from, I don't remember where.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
All right. So, but you said it, and when I know what you did this week, you ate the dog food, right? And so when
Yes.
Blaine says that I live this, he's actually using this product and running his own business based on what this product is telling him. So I commend you for that, because he wrote the book, Chronic Cash Flow, and he's living the life, and I'm very proud of you for that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like we had a great conversation before it started here, and I will say that like sort of selfishly or biased, I don't know how anyone runs a business without that kind of information, because I need that information, and it's absolutely critical, and it helped me this week make a decision and make sure that we were going the right direction with our business. And it was in full color. That way doesn't work, but shit, that way works really well. And that's really exciting for me. And so I want other business owners to experience that exact same thing and go, that is absolutely the path forward. This is what we have to do. I am so confident that we have to do that. That's what generates you to jump, to take action, right?
Yep. Absolutely right. So, hey, can I say something that happened on my birthday that was super exciting? I'm going to change gears because I think the commercial's over. But
sounds good. But if it has to do with Taco Bell,
it does not. But I had neighbor Breger and neighbor Pat down to the house, and we played 3-man cornhole. And believe it or not, you can do it with 3 guys,
boy.
right?
Yeah, you do. You have a website about that. I know. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and I whipped their ass. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think Pat beat me one time in a set, but it was like a lucky thing. I think I stepped in an ant pile. That's what happened. I got all these fire ants on my foot, and they bit me. So I was off. But Pat,
I got an idea.
I'm back.
Okay, go ahead. But I got an idea. Don't let me forget.
I'm back to really beating Pat at cornhole anymore. So I mean, he got to me one time when we were over in his yard, but he comes back over to the where the official neighborhood cornhole area is, and I was on him again.
I got an idea for you. I got an idea. If you want to change the cornhole challenge, get this. New rule. Overhand cornhole.
Oh, Breger already does that.
What? He throws overhand?
Yeah, he throws overhand.
Oh, well, that's not fair. Then he'd be good. Okay. Talking about throwing overhand. I was at a family reunion last weekend. And of course, as my cousins and I used to play all the time, we were playing 500. We went out in the field, had a baseball bat, started hitting balls. Yeah. And my brother-in-law walks out and he says, he goes, man, remember when this used to be full contact? Because it used to be my uncle's farm. We would be tackling each other. And now it's like, just hit it to me. I'm not freaking moving. Right. And it's hard to hit to somebody because none of us can barely hit a ball anymore. And then if it's not coming to me, I reached a little too hard and it stretched back. I'm like, oh, I'm going to feel that tomorrow. Yeah. And it was just a bunch of old guys that are probably like had ice packs the next day playing 500. It was just, oh man, I felt so old.
I grew up with the game, but I cannot for the life of me right now remember the scoring. How do you score 500? So you got one guy hitting, you got a bunch of guys out in the outfield. Is it in the air or on the ground, different points? What is that?
The first 5 minutes, it was in the air was like 100 and on the ground, or one hop was 50, and more than one hop, you don't get anything. And that lasted about 5 minutes. And then everyone was kind of sore and it was hard hitting the ball. And then it turned into just trying to aim the ball at each person so they wouldn't have to move. Okay, yeah. Every once in a while, catching one and smashing it 100 feet over their head. Like, oh, sorry. They have to run for it.
When you throw the ball back in, now the guy that hits it, does he put the bat on the ground, and whoever throws it in and hits the bat gets to come back?
We never did that. No.
Oh, how do you know who gets? Oh no, because you're trying.
It's whoever wins the 500. Whoever wins gets 500.
Different game. Yeah, it's a different game.
Yes,
you throw it back.
Yeah, they get to hit next.
Yeah, I forget what they call that, but there's some game where you throw the guy just hits it, and however you get it. But you have to, wherever you catch it or get the ball, throw it from there, and you have to hit the bat while it's laying on the ground, right? So it kind of rolls up, hit the bat. And if you hit the bat, then you get to come in and bat.
Yeah, that if we tried that, no one would ever actually change batters because I don't think anyone would have hit the bat. Like we could barely throw the bloody ball in, let alone have it go straight. So whoever was batting had to run around and get balls the entire day. It was kind of a anyway. It was a little pathetic. I felt a little like it was like, man, yeah, back in the good old days. But you know what was weird? None of the young guys came out and played where we used to live that stuff. It's a generation change where they're not playing stuff like that anymore.
Easy. I mean, we played everything. I don't. We had so many different games at night, and there was always 10, 12 kids outside in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Always. I don't care if it was like we had this game was Ghost in the Graveyard. I can't even remember what it is or what we did now. It's probably like hide and seek, but we just called it that, right? There was all kinds of other ones like that we just did. It was always outside.
It's changed a lot. So like now we're just two grumpy old guys bitching about shit.
But you're still going outside. I mean,
yeah, at least we were outside for a bit. So I'll take that. Circling back here though, but you know, like you said, the website is the cornerstone of your business. And I remember, you know, back in my agency days, we had the website, but it was just it was different back then. It was a place where people would go to evaluate us, but it was very much networking and outbound sales and all that to find customers. No one sort of came from the web, but that's all changed because now your website is sort of the centerpiece where you want them to come to you because now you get to educate them with your information and you can get that direct. For us, it's the sign up or the conversation, right? Mm-hmm. But now you're using these different channels and you have to use them well. And so it gets really complicated. You can't do every social media channel, but you got to know where are your customers and what do they respond to. If you're paying, you do not want to pay for something that's not effective. So it's so much about test, build, grow, and make sure it's like, okay, we got it working end to end before you start throwing money on it. And man, it's got complicated. But we can reach out to a global audience that way. So it's such a benefit, but it's also people are so impatient and tough to get to as well.
You talk about patience. I mean, that's the SEO game, right? It's like you have to be so precise about what you're trying to say on every page, on every image. I mean, think about alt text. I didn't really understand alt text on images until somebody says, oh, that's for people that can't see the image, but it gets read to them or they can read it somehow. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that. Right? You know, because I want people to be able to see it and understand what the image is instead of just saying image or whatever it is. The other thing is that, you know, loading time speed matters. This is the exercise I'm going through right now. I'm thinking anything that's over a couple of seconds, people get frustrated and they go, screw this, we're out.
Yeah, exactly. And what happened with load times was early on, it's all Google, like Google cared about load times. And then they kind of went like, I don't care quite as much. And then when when everything went to mobile, all of a sudden it's like, oh, load time. And it went all the way back to, if you have 2K more on your page, then you're battling content, load times, your keywording. Like you can kill your own keywords if you use the same keywords on a whole bunch of pages. You kind of have to have one superstar page. Like there's all this stuff that makes it really complicated now.
Like keyword stuffing or something.
Meaning that is long gone, but you can actually keyword. Is it poaching? I'm trying to remember, but it's like if you have a really good page, but then you make other pages with the same keywords that are really strong, they actually compete with each other. So you'd rather have one superstar than 5 pages that compete with each other and all sort of settle down. Man, I don't remember that years ago, but it's and I'm obviously no SEO expert. There's people we talk to that know that stuff better than I do. So
all right, so me neither. I'm not a security expert, but that matters. People, I mean, all these bots can just bombard your stuff. So the way I understand it, you tell me, you know, if it's right or wrong. You got the browser, right? Somebody looking at your page on the browser, and then you have your server where your tables are, right? Which is really what your website is. Well, there's usually a SSL, there's a security certificate between that. So somebody comes from their browser, that hits the certificate, and then you let them into the server, and oh yeah, it's protected, and vice versa. Everybody feels good. Well, now there's well, not now. I think it's always been there, but there's a second level of security that I just added. I'm like, why didn't I do that before? Which is, I'm using Cloudflare, but meaning that somebody goes from the browser through a certificate to Cloudflare through another certificate to you, and that is reducing a lot of that spam. If you ever get stuff on your website where all these contact crap, or people are trying to log in all the time, you get all this just bad traffic or spam on your contact forms. That's one of the ways you get rid of it. I didn't know that till this week that's actually an extra layer of protection you can put in there besides CAPTCHA or whatever that nobody knows or how to use anyway.
Yeah, that's an annoying part, but it gets so complicated, and it just keeps adding layers upon layers upon layers. And it's, at what point do they start bringing that simplification back? Like our website now is built on Webflow, and we were built on a WordPress site for a lot of years.
How was that better?
And it was
still on WordPress.
Well, what I found with WordPress was you start to get, like, I think to me, the base structure was really starting to break down, and it was not built for what people were doing with it. And then you need 600 plugins, and then the plugins each are maintained at a different level, and they have security gaps. And so we finally went to Webflow, and we've just let's just make it nice, clean, and simple and fast. There's no plugins, but we're doing probably everything we need to do. But I've been really happy with it. It is easy to update. Like, it's still got a few gaps here and there, but the bonuses to, like, the pluses to me are so big, because it's just like, frig, it just runs.
Well, I hadn't heard of Webflow. That's a good one. But initially I bought GoDaddy's managed WordPress, right? Which I'm like, oh, they should be able to do this. They're kind of a powerful name. Well, they're great at domains. They're not great at WordPress. I ran into all kinds of plugin conflicts. And if you're listening to this, you're like going, what the hell is a plugin? Imagine I want to add a calendar. Imagine I want to do a ticket. Imagine you want to, do something else cool. You need this plugin to do it on your website. That's basically what it is. So it's like a Lego set.
And each piece has an independent developer that may or may not be keeping it up to speed, up to date, could have its own security issues, could, like, oh my God, like, it just, like, I don't know how many plugins we were running on our website before we went to Webflow. Like, we had so many plugins, and there's always one breaking, and you're trying to update everything, and it just, it was a nightmare. And I've had a really good experience with Webflow.
All right, so I've had a couple people help me, and it's finally this third guy. He goes, "Why do you need Gravity forms and WordPress forms and Fluent forms?"
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I didn't know I had those. I didn't know I had, but that's what happens when you let, and most of us do. Most of us small business owners just say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to turn this over to the expert," but they're going to do their favorite stuff.
Their favorite stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and then what happens is you got all these little conflicts that happen, or it slows down your site because you got all this redundancy, right? And what we found is that there was a couple of forms, even on my one site, I'm using like a Fluent form here and a web form there, a WordPress form here. I'm like, well, that's dumb. Let's just use one. Why do we got to have three different things creating forms? Yeah. So, you probably haven't done that, because you got Tarek there, but I'm just me in the house now, and I've had people helping me, but they all do these things behind the scenes that I don't really understand. Yeah. You gotta,
and like we actually have a designer that does our website, because like Tark does he's our CTO. So it's the app is his baby, not our sort of sales website. So we actually have a contractor that does that. But it's tricky. There's just so many layers, and it's just, man, when you start looking at how difficult it is just on the website, on the technical side and the speed side and the security side and all of that, and then the content side, not just for SEO, but it's the content side of, are you actually getting your message across to your customer? Because you can write all those contents like, oh, it's SEO perfect, but they get to your site. I was actually on a site, man, it was a day or two ago, and I couldn't understand what they did. I looked through the page and I looked, and it was supposed to relate to me, but by the time I got to the bottom, I just like, I don't even understand what you guys do. Like, I'm completely lost. And it's like their messaging is so far off the mark that it was really hurting them. So that's the other side, is knowing your ideal customer, knowing your ICP. But then it is, like you mentioned, it is hard to truly understand the value you bring to them and how to message to that value and in what step in the funnel they're in. And it's really complicated, but it's magic when it works.
I still think if you focus on two things, and I've said this probably 3 or 4 times in 105 episodes, it's two things you have to tell everybody. What do you do, and why should I buy it from you? Those are the two questions you have to answer.
To some degree, but I think the number one thing, if you're right at the top of the funnel, is how are you going to change their life? Like, why it matters to them.
Well,
and because they won't necessarily interpret what you do and why you should buy it as how will you, like, what is the massive benefit to them, right?
Yeah, but I think those are the two first hurdles, and then you solve a problem. Like, going, because you're already looking for me. Well, here's what I do. I do X, Y, Z, right? I, teach you financial concepts. All right. Well, that's something I need, and then why should you buy from me? Well, I found $150 million in hidden cash in the past, X years. Okay. That's why you should buy from me. And then I tell you what problems that I can solve. I think there's two things up front you got to hurdle before you can solve a problem.
Yeah, it is. But like let's say we're talking with CPA advisors, like what we do and how and why you would buy from us is actually a step later than, are you interested in offering advisory services? Like it's like, that's why you would want to come and talk with us, right?
All right. So let me go a little bit higher level. BMW sells luxury cars. That's what they do, right? We sell luxury cars. So if you want a luxury car, you would look at BMW, but you'd also look at Mercedes, or you'd look at, Range Rover. Probably not Bentley, because none of us can afford that. But you know what I mean? You're going to look at those. If you want a luxury car, the second question you're going to answer is, why should I get it from you? Well, that's what I love, and I've said this before about their tagline is the ultimate driving machine, right? I don't have a BMW. I wouldn't buy it, but if I'm looking at it, I'm gonna go look at them for that one tagline. You sell luxury cars, I'm looking for that. You're the ultimate driving machine. So if I'm looking for the best luxury car, I'm at least going to look at you a little bit differently.
Yeah, but that's interesting, because the ultimate driving machine is not really what they do as a luxury car. Why you buy from them because of what they are. The ultimate driving machine is a little bit of, if you don't really know about us, that's what we're about. So it's like that's our mission, that's our vision, that's what we're about. And then you get into more detail of, now we're a luxury car, and why you buy it from us is because we have the best service, the best support. It looks really nice. It's da 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 da.
That's not what they say. They say that they're the ultimate driving machine because of German engineering. Their whole focus is on the quality of the car. You buy from us if you want the precision of German engineering. And I don't even know if that's true. I'm just saying that's the perception that they've played on in their marketing message.
Yeah, I think there's another layer there, but like, I get exactly what you're saying. What you're saying is ultra important, but I think there's another layer above that that you need today. So because if they're coming to find you,
another layer up, this is a big onion. This is a huge onion.
It is, but that's the thing is that it's just like you're talking about. I think when they come to your website, they're finding you, but if you're out there in social media and doing videos and things like that, they may not recognize that they need that. And they may not recognize like, oh, I've never considered a luxury car. Maybe that other layer is, you know what? We are affordable and we'll offer you something that these others can't, or something like there's another layer of let's attract you. So you'll even come to this and find out about us. Right.
All right. But that would be the second part of what I just said. First of all, they're trying to compete in luxury cars. Secondly, come to us because we're more affordable. That's why buy from us.
No, I'm talking about why you would why you would say consider a luxury car segment versus a different segment. So that's what I'm talking about. Is we haven't even got to the point where they're comparing luxury cars yet, right?
Okay, I'll go with that. Meaning that I don't know if I want a luxury car or just a regular car.
That's exactly it. So what I'm saying is they can look at that and say, there's a market opportunity there that's untapped. We know these other ones are coming. They're comparing us already, but there's this bigger market that is going and spending almost as much money on a Toyota or whatever it is, right? Before they even get to, oh, I think I'll check luxury cars out and I will compare them to each other. Would that be something that I would consider moving to? So we're kind of going like, I know like off base here a little bit, but I think it's important to that, the two fundamental messages you're talking about are great, but I think there's other layers on there that can help expand that market.
It's off base to the website conversation, but what this relates to is your watch conversation a couple episodes ago, right? I mean, we compare to the luxury watches. Yeah, but you're not a luxury watch. So I think you have to self-select people. People have to self-select. I mean, do I really want a Toyota or do I want a Mercedes? Right? I think people are already predisposed to get one or the other before they even say they want a car. They're not shopping those two together. They're not like going, I'm going to look at the Mercedes and the Toyota. They're saying, no, I'm just going to look at the Mercedes and the BMW and whatever else.
Well, I think there's more to it than that. I think there is no, but there's an opportunity. Like, yeah, people that have already said, I'm going to get a luxury car are going to look at that. There's a whole group, there's a whole market out there that probably haven't considered luxury cars as even a segment that are spending a lot of money and have the opportunity to draw them in and start looking at that as a segment, right?
Maybe. To me, I'm like going, if you're not looking at luxury cars, you're not going to get one, regardless. I don't think you're going to say, I'm already paying $70,000 for a Ford Expedition like I did. And then I'm going to go, but I can get the Infinity for $78,000. Because I had an Infinity too. I'm like, I didn't consider that. I'm like, I just want a basic car. And the basic car was $70,000. That's part of the problem with the world right now is that my basic car was $70,000.
But that's what I'm saying is there's a segment of people out there that probably don't recognize that Infinity would be an option, and they would maybe potentially care about that. Like there's cars maybe aren't the best way to kind of discuss this, but there's when they come to you and they're almost at the decision, like in the decision cycle, that's like they're basically deciding between you and competition. But top of funnel, there's a market out there that you can draw in. And that's all I'm saying is that there's other layers of attracting a market that maybe don't recognize they have that problem. They haven't decided they have the problem yet. And then they see, like for us, people, the best that come for us is like, they come in and they're like, I need this product. I need something like it. How are you different than the competition? Okay, good to go. Right. But there's others out there that don't even know there's a segment like us that exists. They're killing themselves in a spreadsheet. And then all of a sudden they see one day, hey, we'll save you like 90% of your time will be, and it'll be so much easier to understand what the hell you're looking at. Yeah. Oh man, I didn't even know that existed. Right. And I think there's just other layers that real top of funnel, getting people drawing their attention. So they come in and they want to check you out and they want to learn more about you and how you're different. So I think there are other opportunities to expand that market.
All right. So before we ruin the whole episode, I'm just kidding. Let me ask you this, because I think I want to bring it back into digital presence, do's, don'ts. What piece of advice or what's a lesson learned about your website as a small business owner would you tell somebody else?
Well, I think that today it's not just about the website. That's the one thing I would say. But whatever you do, be very focused and strategic, because you can't do everything. So it's like there's channels that you're using to draw people to your website, but it has to be very focused on your ideal customer, because you can't, if you're trying to serve everybody, you're going to fail. Getting them to your website is one of the biggest challenges, right? So the website has to be made for those customers. And then you reach out and say, where are my potential customers? Because I can't do everything. I can only do maybe like, they come and search and they find us. Okay, we got it. That's one. LinkedIn, maybe that's two, or maybe LinkedIn is like, nope, it's TikTok. But you need to know your few channels that you can focus on, because you can't do everything unless you're like Coca-Cola. So, it's all about your customer, know where your customer is and what they need to know to help them make a decision, which again is coming back to what you're saying.
All right. So I agree with you there. So, I mean, I agree with that. I mean,
shocking.
What? we agree more than disagree, but I mean,
I know it's kind of lame though then.
I mean, for you, I'm like going, it has to go from what you say and what you look like in your ad has to match what you look like on the website. You can't be two different people. You can't just, hey, I'm this, and then all of a sudden they get the website and it's totally different, right? The look, the feel, the tone, the language, all that has to match. Here's the best advice I think I could give based on what I just know right now is it's easy for a website to become a quilt. And I don't want you to be a quilt, which means you just put all these pieces together and all of a sudden here's what we've got as a website. It needs to be a path. It needs to direct somebody to something. And that's what I was talking about in the beginning of the episode, which was, are you a sales, website? Are you a content website that's building trust? Either one of those still has to have a golden path to whatever it is you want. Conversions, voting for you. I don't care what it is. What is it you're trying to get somebody to do? And if you're not trying to get anybody to do anything, well, shit, don't build a website. Don't build a website. I mean, that's what I would say is don't build a website if you're not trying to get somebody to do something.
Yeah. It's all about the content. Yeah. Like for too many small businesses make a website. It's like, oh, we got a template and it's up there. And then they actually write shit content that doesn't actually resonate with their customer and the problem they're solving. I would say you are better off having a single page, like no pictures, just absolute bang on content than the prettiest site that does not say, doesn't send the right message to your customer, because it's just not going to work.
All right, buddy. I agree with you. Even at the end. But this is episode 105 of Mike and Blaine. You've been listening to Mike Mylan and Blaine Birch. And if you want to help us out, go buy us a beer, right? If you think that this is worth our time to come over here and drink beer and talk to you, buy us a beer.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.